Right, good morning. So many of you will know from my recent post that I've sold my car with the aim of replacing it with an e-bike. Now I've been using my car really just for commuting to and from work, which is about 17 miles each way. So replacing it with an e-bike is still quite an ask. So what I've done is I've borrowed an e-bike from one of my friends, and I'm going to give the journey a go. So you'll see it's a pretty miserable rainy Sunday morning at about 8 o'clock in the morning. I figure if I'm going to commute, then I need to be happy to commute any weather, any time of day. So my first ride at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning in the rain seems pretty appropriate. So the bike I'm using for the journey is the Rally Motus E. Now this is the slightly older model. So the newer model has some additional benefits like built-in lights and stuff like this, whereas on this one the lights run off the dynamo. But even so, it should be a really good first test for me on the bike. So I'm going to set off now, and I'll do a bit more of the video again when I get to the other end. If I'm doing really well, then I might try the journey back as well. Which make it a 34-mile round trip, which for my first go on an e-bike would be pretty good going. And just to put this all in context, I'm not a big cycler. Like, I do enjoy it, and I've been enjoying cycling more over lockdown, but typically I tend to cycle kind of 5-6 miles. I think the longest cycle I've done is about 11 miles. So this is going to be a real test of the e-bike and what it actually enables me to do. Right, I'll see you all again in 17 miles. Cheers. So, it's me again. I made it. 17 miles, 1 hour 7 minutes. I think that's pretty good going for my first try. And that's including getting lost a few times because Google really hasn't got a clue what it's doing when it's directing e-bikes. Few lessons for the journey. Firstly, I mean, the bike's great. I've really enjoyed it. To be honest, 50 miles an hour assist is fine, but there's quite a few times when I'm pushing it with my own strength up to kind of 20-22. So it feels really daft to have it limited quite so low. I'd love to see the level of assist increased, so that we can have up to 20 miles an hour, something similar to the US. However, I've managed 17 miles. I feel absolutely fine. I could easily go in and start a day's work after that cycle. I feel like I've had a good workout. I've put quite a bit of effort into it, although again I could have put a lot more in and saved a bit more time. So I mean, 1 hour 7, I'd hope that after a few goes, learning the route, I'd have that down to an hour quite happily. Other lessons, cycle routes are rubbish. They're in really good places. They've been pretty well designed, but they're completely overgrown, particularly middle of summer like this, where people just haven't really been trimming them, and lots of rain, lots of sun, so it's grown really quickly. So if the government want to encourage more people to make the switch from a car to an e-bike, then one of the key things they've got to do is maintain the cycle paths. Also, some of the cycle paths, they call them cycle paths. I don't know how they get away with it. They are the lumpiest, bumpiest routes. Like, I wouldn't walk on those routes, let alone cycle. And so yeah, the cycle routes really need improving. All that said, it was a really good journey. Yeah, I would happily do this each day. And the time, I mean, it normally takes me half an hour to drive into work. It can take a bit longer, kind of more like 45 minutes if it's if it's bad traffic. On a Friday, sometimes an hour. So on a Friday, cycling, to be honest, would be as quick as driving. On the other days, it's really not actually that much longer. You might not be able to tell, but it is absolutely pissing it down with rain now. So it's been quite a good test from that side of things. I had one very minor slip where the bike well, I was having to go down quite an awkward route because the cycle path was leading me down that way, and it's quite steep but a sharp turn. And as I braked, the back wheel just skidded a bit, but it didn't go anywhere. I was able to recover it, and it went. Yeah, it was fine. So I'm quite pleased with the grip of the bike. It handles really well. My main improvement I'd want for it, this saddle. It is so uncomfortable. After about it was fine for maybe the first 3 or 4 miles. I mean, maybe even up to kind of 5 or 6, but 17 miles on that saddle, and it's just really quite hurts. I found I was quite often standing to cycle just to get off the saddle. So yeah, actually, if you want to do long distance cycling, then a better saddle is really important. But still, I mean, this bike is probably intended to help people who are doing more like 4 or 5 mile commutes. So in that case, the saddle's probably fine. Yeah, other than that, it went really well. Yeah, I'm surprised by how much energy I've got. I'm definitely going to have a go at the return journey as well. And that'll be, I mean, normally I'd stop and I'd have a day's work, which would mean that I'm only actually doing, I've got plenty of time to recover. Whereas I'm going to have a go at the journey home now. And so that'll be, yeah, 34 miles total. Yeah, other thoughts, I guess, the Nottingham side. So I commute from Nottingham down to Loughborough. The Nottingham side, the cycle paths are a lot better. A lot wider, more segmented out from the road, a lot clearer. You get to the Loughborough side and they're really higgledy-piggledy. It's a lot more confusing, a lot harder. I mean, at one point I was told to turn off the road to go onto a cycle path, and I realised that there was no route from the road to the cycle path, and I had to carry the bike down a grassy hill, which, I mean, again, normally would be fine, but an e-bike's hardly the lightest thing. It's quite weighty. Yeah, I guess that's probably my final thought then, actually, is this bike is heavy. I believe it's about 26 kilograms or something like that. I was overtaken at one point by some cyclists out on their racing bikes. There was a group of them clearly do this every single weekend. I mean, legs the size of Rottweilers, absolutely built for this. And they weren't getting particularly far away from me, but they were probably going 20 miles an hour or slightly higher. And actually, I was looking at them thinking their bikes will weigh like a third of what mine does. And that does make a difference. And e-bikes are always going to be heavier because they've got more kit on them and batteries are heavy. But actually, yeah, to lose a few kilograms of weight off these bikes would also make quite a difference. So I'm going to have a drink, have a banana, and then jump back on the road and try the journey home. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye. So I just wanted to wrap things up. I'm home again now. That's 34 miles in one morning on the e-bike, and I'm tired, but not too bad at all. I need a shower, but I'm really impressed by this bike, and I can really see that e-bikes are a realistic alternative to a car when you're commuting. So I think that's it from me now. Thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear your own e-bike stories. Thanks. Bye.